My name is Philip Quick, the owner of the defending champion, playoff-bound Hamtramck Librarians, and I'm here with another episode of Wednesdays with Wally. Wally can't be here tonight because, well, quite frankly, he's pretty despondent. He's pretty down. He was knocked out of the playoffs last week, and he realizes now his fate is with Justin and Jason in the ass chair. And he's miserable about it. The last time I saw him a couple of days ago, he looked terrible. He looked, I don't know if he's going to do something to himself or what, but he looked really bad about it. Anyway, enough of that. Now, I don't often like to sound off on issues, but there is something that I want to talk about. Did any of you knuckleheads listen to the Week 13 podcast? It was an embarrassment. It was the idiocy reached a new low. And I got to tell you, we got the commish and the chairman of the board, and if you ever listen to the podcast, you know exactly what they mean by board. So we got these two guys, combined record in the Loafers Fantasy League, 47 wins, 57 losses. That's a 45 winning percentage. 47 wins, 57 losses combined. These guys are giving fantasy football advice, football analysis. They've got 12 whiskey dicks between the two of them. And the only thing I don't understand is how there are 7 other limp dicks in this fucking league that listen to these guys. I don't understand it. Are you guys all like Syracuse and Maryland graduates or what? I'm really glad that Steve and Justin aren't trying to earn a living, or maybe they are making this podcast, because it's, I can't believe it. I mean, it certainly can't be their jobs. Although, Justin, I think, is an accountant, right? Yeah, an accountant, my ass. He works at the local McDonald's accounting our money when we buy the Big Mac from him. And who knows what the hell Steve does. But anyway. So, I'm embarrassed of it. I'm sickened by it. On behalf of the NFL, on behalf of fantasy football, I just want to apologize on that. And actually, the Loafers League has set up a special fund if you have in any way lost any money by betting on Steve and Justin's advice, or if you suffered any pain and suffering listening to the show, call 713-367-1409 and your money will be refunded on your credit card. And the season coming right down to the wire in week 14 in the blue division. But first, the orange division, playoff teams have been decided. The computer-generated Havana Honeys, 9-5, have led wire to wire. There's not actually a real person running that team. It is computer automated. So will unlikely be eligible for the Golden Loafers Championship. Second place, Colt 45. They don't quite have a lock on it. I guess Nick DeChellis, where's Trico, could actually sneak past him, but it would mean they're actually playing each other. Nick and Brian, Colt 45, are playing each other this week. Nick would have to win by 86 points. And Nick, I love you like the daughter I never had, but you're not going to do it. Sorry about that. So it's Havana Honeys, Colt 45 in the orange division. The blue division, a little tighter, a little more interesting. It will be the Cosmos and the Hamtramck Librarians after the Librarians kick the Cosmos' ass this week. Doesn't really matter whether Right to Life wins or loses. And let me digress here for a minute, if you don't mind. Right to Life, this whole thing with the commish is very suspect. I've been talking about it for a couple weeks, and it really concerns me. First, final week of the year determines the playoffs. Hamtramck Librarians, Cosmos battle it out. We slug it out like men. Well, like a man and a boy. Reason to Live, the commish, what does he do with the schedule? He gives himself a cupcake, a patsy. He gives himself son of Justin Goodell. Not only that, but if you recall a couple of weeks ago, the Jason Bull team and the commish had a sweetheart trade where the commish got a much higher scoring Odell Beckham from the Jason Bull team. Now, I don't know what's going on, but it smells bad. If Odell Beckham has a big game for the commish this week, I think it's going to call into the entire call into account the entire integrity of this league, and I think they'll be held to pay. I think I will demand a meeting of the owners to talk about the job performance of the commish. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about that if that should happen. To the only game that matters this week, the Cosmos visiting Hamtramck Stadium to take on the Hamtramck Feral Librarians. And a little shout out here to my buddy Justin. Justin, I don't know where you learned your English, maybe Syracuse, but the word is feral. It means wild. I don't know what Spanish, Pig Latin, idiomatic word you were saying last week in the podcast, but the word is feral. Look it up. It's only 5 letters. It's not that tough. Anyway, onto the game. Dave, baby Dave, you're a teacher, right? I mean, I find that hard to believe because your math skills are unbelievably bad. It doesn't matter how many paths to victory Right to Life has, because when it comes to fantasy football, paths don't matter. Steve's stumbling around in the dark. I only need one path to victory, and that path is through your sorry ass. Now, Dave, you're not a bad guy. You don't have a bad team. You never had a bad team. You're always in contention. You know, you're always invited to the dance. But you choke. You choke on the big one. You choked last year in 2015. You choked in 2014. This year you're going to choke. You choke on the big one. You know, it reminds me of Justin, in fact, from what I hear. And you deny it, but the Librarians are 8-1 against you, and that weighs on you. That weighs heavily on you. It's weakened your confidence. You're making bad decisions. You know, you're saying stuff that doesn't make sense, and I understand that lack of confidence. I really do. I've never experienced that lack of confidence, but I understand that you might be going through that, and I feel really bad for you, Dave. But this week we're going to kick your ass, and that will just bring us to a tie, and then next week we'll kick your ass again in the first round of the playoffs. So, as I've said, you've been invited to a lot of the dances, you know, but you've never been felt up and taken home. It's not going to happen again this year. Sorry, Dave. We'll kick your ass. You know, you'll be watching the championship game from the sidelines like you do every year. See you at Christmas, Dave. And see everybody else on the gridiron.